They thought they were stealing my late mother's antique locket, but they had no idea that tiny piece of jewelry contained the secret that would destroy their entire family. My husband threatened to throw me out of my own house, but minutes later, he was on his knees begging for mercy. This is my revenge story. Put the locket on the table, right now. Nathan's voice thundered through the bedroom before the words even had time to sink in. The wardrobe doors slammed open. Clothes flew across the room. Family photo albums crashed onto the hardwood floor. My late mother's belongings, things I hadn't even gathered the strength to pack away after her funeral, were scattered beneath their feet without the slightest bit of respect. His younger sister, Olivia, shoved another drawer completely out of the dresser and dumped its contents onto the carpet. She has to be hiding it somewhere, she shouted. An antique gold locket doesn't just disappear. I stood quietly near the bedroom window. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I simply watched. 3 days earlier, I had buried my mother. Today, I was watching the family I had married and to rob her memory. It was amazing how quickly grief revealed people's true faces. Some people brought flowers. Others came looking for valuables. Nathan marched toward me until we were only inches apart. His face was twisted with frustration. Emma. His voice dropped lower. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You know exactly what we're looking for. Behind him, Olivia folded her arms with a smug smile. Honestly, she scoffed. What good is that old necklace going to do for you now? Our family has the reputation to preserve antique collections. It deserves to stay with us. I almost laughed. Not because what she said was funny, but because it was unbelievable. My mother's body had barely been laid to rest, and they were already fighting over something that wasn't theirs. Nathan took another step forward. If you keep hiding it, don't expect to stay in this house much longer. His words hung in the air. Years ago, that threat would have terrified me. Today, it meant absolutely nothing. Because something inside me had changed the moment I stood beside my mother's hospital bed during her final hours. She hadn't talked about money. She hadn't talked about inheritance. She hadn't even talked about the locket. Instead, she squeezed my hand with what little strength she had left, looked directly into my eyes, and whispered 6 words I would never forget. Trust the truth, not appearances, Emma. At the time, I thought she was simply giving me one last lesson. I had no idea. She was preparing me for this exact moment. Nathan's patience finally snapped. He grabbed the bedside table and overturned it onto the floor. A lamp shattered. Glass scattered everywhere. Olivia started tearing through another cabinet. Every passing second made them more desperate, more reckless, more greedy. Neither of them realized. They weren't searching for a family heirloom. They were searching for the one thing that could destroy everything they had spent years protecting. I slowly turned toward the old oak bookshelf standing beside my mother's favorite rocking chair. Hidden behind one of its shelves, exactly where my mother had shown me only hours before she passed away, was a small secret compartment. I reached inside. My fingers touched the cold metal. I closed my hand around the antique gold locket. For a brief moment, I remembered being 7 years old, watching my mother gently polish it every Sunday afternoon. Whenever I asked why she treasured it so much, she would smile, close the locket, and quietly change the subject. Back then, I thought it held a faded family photograph. I couldn't have been more wrong. I walked back toward the center of the room. Nathan's eyes immediately locked onto the locket in my hand. A greedy smile slowly spread across his face. He thought he had finally won. Without saying a word, I placed the antique locket on the table between us. Nathan reached for it, just before his fingers touched the gold. I placed my hand over it, looked directly into his eyes, and calmly said, "Are you absolutely sure this is what you came here for?" Nathan frowned. What kind of question is that? His hand remained suspended above the locket. For the first time since barging into my room, he hesitated. Olivia rolled her eyes impatiently. Oh, please, Emma. Stop being dramatic. It's just an old necklace. If you're hoping we'll suddenly feel guilty because your mother passed away, you're wasting your time. I quietly looked down at the antique locket resting beneath my hand. The soft golden surface reflected the afternoon sunlight pouring through the bedroom window. It looked harmless, fragile, worthless to anyone who didn't know its secret. A strange calm settled over me. For years, I had stayed silent while this family mocked my background, insulted my mother, and treated my brother like a criminal. Today, silence was no longer protecting anyone. Nathan let out an impatient sigh. If you're trying to negotiate, tell me your price. I looked at him in disbelief. Even now, he thought everything could be bought. My price? I asked softly. You still think this is about money? He crossed his arms. Everything is about money, Emma. My father always says every problem has a price. A faint smile appeared on my face. Your father was wrong. Olivia stepped closer. Enough. She pointed directly at the locket. Give it to us right now. It belongs to this family. I slowly shook my head. No, it never did. Nathan finally lost his patience. He grabbed my wrist and tried pulling the locket away. The moment his fingers touched it, I spoke. Nathan, my mother knew this day would come. His grip instantly loosened. What? She knew your family would come looking for this after she was gone. Olivia laughed nervously. Listen to yourself. You're acting like your mother planned all of this. I met her eyes. She did. The smile disappeared from Olivia's face. Nathan stared at me without blinking. My mother spent 8 years protecting this locket. Not because it was expensive, but because she knew there would come a day when greedy people would expose themselves. Neither of them spoke. I gently opened the engraved cover. Instead of an old family photograph, a tiny black encrypted microdrive rested inside a hidden compartment. Nathan's breathing stopped. His eyes widened. Olivia instinctively stepped backward. What? What is that? She whispered. I carefully removed the tiny device and held it between 2 fingers. This is the reason my mother never took this locket off. Nathan swallowed hard. His confident expression completely disappeared. You've got to be kidding. I slowly shook my head. I wish I were. This microdrive contains every financial record, every hidden offshore account, every illegal stock transaction, and every confidential email proving that your father committed insider trading and corporate fraud 8 years ago. Nathan's face turned ghostly white. Olivia covered her mouth. No, I continued without raising my voice. The same crime. Your family blamed on my innocent brother. My mother spent nearly a decade collecting every piece of evidence. She encrypted everything and hid it inside the one place nobody would ever think to search. Nathan staggered backward until he hit the wall. His hands began shaking uncontrollably. Emma, please, tell me you're lying. I looked straight into his terrified eyes. I haven't even told you the worst part yet. Nathan stared at me as though the world had just collapsed beneath his feet. What could possibly be worse than that? His voice barely came out as a whisper. I closed the locket. Slowly, carefully, almost lovingly. My mother never trusted anyone with this evidence. Not the police. Not lawyers. Not even me. Until the night before she died. Olivia's knees nearly gave out. She grabbed the edge of the dresser to steady herself. Nathan shook his head over and over. No. If your mother had all of this, why didn't she expose us years ago? I looked toward the family photograph lying broken on the floor. My brother. I answered quietly. He was still in prison. If your father had discovered the evidence before she had enough proof, my brother would have disappeared forever. Silence filled the room. My mother waited. She waited until every document was verified, every witness was protected, and every backup copy was safely stored. Nathan's eyes suddenly shot toward the tiny microdrive. Backup. A faint smile crossed my face. Did you really think my mother would spend 8 years collecting evidence and keep only one copy? The color completely drained from Nathan's face. You made copies? I slowly nodded. Not me. My mother. Months before she passed away. Olivia grabbed Nathan's arm. We have to leave. Right now. Nathan ignored her. His eyes remained fixed on mine. Emma, listen to me. My father can fix this. He'll pay your brother. He'll pay you. You can have anything you want. I couldn't help smiling. There it is. The Nathan I married. The man who believes every human being has a price. He lowered his head in shame. I made mistakes. I know. But don't destroy my family. I took one slow step closer. My family was destroyed 8 years ago, when my brother was arrested. My mother died a little every single day. I spent years watching her cry herself to sleep. Did your family ever care? Nathan couldn't answer, because he already knew the truth. They never had. I unlocked my phone, opened a secure folder, then another. Nathan frowned. What are you doing? I looked up at him. The same thing my mother asked me to do. If your family ever came looking for this locket. His breathing became frantic. No, Emma. Please. I pressed one icon. The screen displayed a single message. Encrypted archive ready. Olivia suddenly screamed. Stop her. Nathan lunged toward me. But this time, I stepped back before he could reach me. Then, without another word, I pressed send. The progress bar slowly began moving across the screen. 5%. Nathan froze. 18%. Olivia burst into tears. 42%. Nathan dropped to his knees. Emma, I'm begging you. Please. I'll do anything. I looked down at the man who had threatened to throw me out of my own home less than an hour earlier. For the first time, the power had completely changed hands. And there was nothing, absolutely nothing, he could do to stop what was coming next. 100%. The confirmation message appeared on my screen. Files successfully delivered. No dramatic music. No explosion. No shouting. Just one simple sentence. And 8 years of carefully hidden lies came crashing down. Nathan stared at the screen in complete disbelief. It's over, he whispered. I slipped the phone back into my pocket. No. It's finally beginning. His phone suddenly started vibrating. Then it rang again. And again. 3 calls. 5 calls. 9 calls. The screen flashed the same name over and over. Dad. Nathan couldn't bring himself to answer. A news alert suddenly appeared across his lock screen. Breaking. Federal authorities launch investigation into major Wall Street investment firm. Olivia grabbed her own phone. Within seconds, her face turned completely pale. Oh my God. It's everywhere. Financial news channels were already reporting the story. Anonymous federal sources confirmed that search warrants had been issued. Multiple offices belonging to Nathan's father's investment company were being sealed. Computers. Financial servers. Private records. Everything was being confiscated. Nathan finally answered one of the calls. His father's voice exploded through the speaker loud enough for all of us to hear. What have you done? Federal agents are in my office. They've frozen the accounts. Where's the locket? Nathan couldn't speak. His father kept shouting. Answer me. Nathan slowly looked at me, then quietly ended the call. He knew. There was nothing left to hide. Over the following weeks, the investigation uncovered far more than anyone had expected. Every encrypted file my mother had protected matched official bank records, hidden offshore companies, forged investment reports. Millions of dollars moved through secret accounts. Former executives began cooperating with investigators. One confession led to another. One arrest uncovered another crime. The empire Nathan's father had spent decades building began collapsing piece by piece. The same newspapers that had once called my brother a criminal now printed a very different headline. Wrongfully convicted man cleared after 8 years. When my brother walked out of the courthouse as a free man, he stood silently on the courthouse steps for several seconds. Then he looked at the sky, closed his eyes, and smiled. I knew Mom would never stop fighting. Those were the first words he spoke. I couldn't stop crying, not because we had won, but because my mother wasn't there to see it. A few weeks later, Nathan asked to meet me one final time. We met at the same park where he had proposed years earlier. He looked older, tired, broken. I don't expect forgiveness, he said quietly. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I looked at him for a long moment. Then I answered honestly, I'm not angry anymore, but I can never trust you again. The day you chose your family's lies over the truth, our marriage ended. A month later, the divorce was finalized. I walked out of the courthouse carrying only one thing, my mother's antique gold locket. Nothing else mattered. Today, my brother has rebuilt his life. I have finally found peace. And every Sunday morning, just like my mother once did, I sit by the window with a soft cloth in my hands, gently polishing the old gold locket. Not because it's valuable, not because it destroyed a powerful family, but because every tiny scratch on its surface reminds me of the bravest woman I've ever known. My mother's final gift wasn't gold. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't revenge. It was the truth. And in the end, the truth gave us something money never could. Justice. Guys, greed can blind people to their own destruction, but a mother's courage and patience can change history. If you enjoyed watching Emma stand up to the people who destroyed her family and finally get justice, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more powerful emotional revenge stories. Today's question. If you were in Emma's place, would you have immediately exposed your husband's family, or would you have confronted them first and given them one final chance to confess? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read every single one of them.